Hello, and welcome to this episode of Tools for Living the Magic of You with Delia Yeager. I'm Delia Yeager, and I am so glad that you're here. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about um, having other people's energy in your space and what that means. So, a lot of times, one of the first things that people ask me about when they start to work with me is they have an experience of not knowing where they end and where other people begin, or not knowing what emotions are theirs or not. And the thing that usually goes along with this is feeling foggy headed or headachy or waves of nausea or spacey. What's the word I'm looking for? Like you have vertigo, woozy, that kind of, woozy headedness. And all of those are uh, sensations that your body is telling you that there's something going on. There's something not you in your space. And when you understand that, then you'll have a different response to that sensation than if you have kind of the traditional AMA, American Medical Association, or like the Time Warner version of the world, all say that your body is, and I'm going to exaggerate here for the purpose of explanation, but something to the effect of your body is just this dumb animal or this unintelligent collection of cells and organs. And it has to be managed by you. You have to tell your body what to do. You have to be the boss of your body. You have to not let it tell you what to do, not let it have its way. There's a lot of different schools of thought that basically invalidate the wisdom and intelligence of your body and make it very hard to hear what your body is trying to tell you, right? There's a lot of kind of vested interest in having us not really on good relations with our bodies. If you know what your body is trying to tell you, if your body communication is really strong, then your no bullshit detector is like, um, unnavigable. Nobody can get past your no bullshit detector. And a lot of the people that I work with have trouble with that, their own no bullshit detector to begin with, because when you're that confident, when you really know what you know, then it's really hard to manipulate you. And so everything about our culture, the schools and socialization and everything else that we go through, all has some investment in getting us to not trust ourselves and getting us to not trust our bodies and our own sense of knowing and our own BS detectors. So chances are, if you're interested in living the magic of you, you have had a lot of resistance and pushback and programming that gets you to not trust you. And the surest way to do that is to mess with your relationship with your body. And every aspect of Madison Avenue and the economy is invested in messing with our relationships with our bodies. So the more you can have an open mind, let's say, and be willing to be curious about what your body is trying to tell you, and you be willing to be curious that Maybe your body has information for you that you actually want, right? Um, so much of the way the world operates right now is backwards. It's just twisted and screwed up. And so it's hard to get things straight for ourselves, right? That's one of the reasons that's it's like a part of the divine plan that we need each other and can learn from each other and share our experience, strength, and hope. What's worked for you? What's worked for me? How do we manage this whole thing and get back to living instead of this thing that everybody is suffering from that Time Warner is trying to tell us is living. All right, so that was a lot of wah-wah, but it gets to the point about how it can be very challenging to know what you know. And if you don't know what's yours and what's not yours, that's going to keep you from knowing what you know. It's very effective that way, as you have experienced. So there's a couple of tools for having this interference, this energy that's foreign to you in your space. And by your space, I mean not only your thoughts and your energetic space, your physical body, the energetic aspect of your body, right? Because we're not only biochemical beings, which they'll admit to, but we're also electromagnetic beings. And so when you have other people's energy in your space, your body is going to give you messages that tell you that. It's going to give you readings that reflect that very fact. One of the tools that's very effective for this is just to start acknowledging that you do absorb other people's energy. Now, you don't need to resist that. You need to just be aware of it. So sometimes people come to me and they're very resistant of having other people's energy in their space. And once you're in resistance, you're in reaction. So here's a little thing to try at home. Put your hands together. And if you have somebody that you can do this with, that's even better. But if there's nobody else around you right now, just put your hands together and really apply pressure and really resist, right? So both hands are applying pressure and you're resisting and you feel that heat that's building up and the stress, right? And you can feel it in your arms and in the heels of your palms, underneath. So, and then what happens when you're in resistance is you can't do anything else. You have to just stay with the very thing that you're resisting, like white on rice, yeah? And so when you're in resistance, you're attaching yourself to the very thing that you're resisting. And I know it's a little confusing right now because people are more interactive in the world right now, and resistance is a word that gets used a lot when it's used the way that it's being used. As far as civil disobedience, I'm not going to argue with that, but resistance as an energy, what we resist persists, right? Because we're feeding it our life force energy. So coming back into the arena of our personal lives and our interactions with each other, when you're resisting, your sister-in-law or your supervisor at work or whoever you're resisting, then what happens is you're going to be hyper aware of them. And if they sneeze in the next room, you're going to know about it. And you're going to be stuck to them energetically like white on rice. And whatever they're doing Also, you're going to see it through that lens of resistance. So, this is the kind of thing where somebody says to you, oh, you look nice today. And what you hear is, you usually look like crap, but today you look okay, you know. Some kind of like a backhanded compliment, I guess they call that. So when you're in resistance, you're going to take everything personal, and you're going to be affronted by things, and it's going to prove your point of view that who and whatever this thing is that you're resisting needs to be resisted, obviously, right? And that is a very exhausting way to live. When you're in resistance, you're going to be tired a lot, and you're going to be cranky. And it's because you're seeing through a very specific point of view of resistance, everything is going to be aggravating for you. So let's say you have somebody in your life that you're resisting right now. And if you can't think of anybody, then great. But think of somebody that's, you know, anywhere from really aggravating to mildly annoying. And if this is a okay time to close your eyes, just close your eyes and think about that person. And, you know, kind of really get that energy of resisting them. You know, they're so irritating or stupid or bad and wrong or whatever it is that they are. And now I want you to list in your mind 5 differences between you and them. And I don't mean you're right and they're wrong. I mean like they have blue hair and you have green hair. They're in their 20s and you're in your 30s. Factual differences as opposed to judgment differences. So just name 5 differences between you and that person. Yeah. And just notice what happens to your body when you name 5 differences between you and them. Yeah. So usually what happens is you'll notice maybe a relaxation around your solar plexus. Or maybe you'll notice your breathing is a little deeper. Or maybe you'll notice that your shoulders relaxed a little bit. Yeah. So when you're willing to allow for there to be some distance, some differences between you and this other person, then your body is not quite so on alert, right? Because you're starting to make separations, because you're not actually, you know, one hand, you're actually 2 different beings, right? Okay, so another tool that goes with this is, now you've got a little bit of space because you're these different hairstyles and these different ages and these different physical attributes and these different geography things, right? Just factual differences. Okay, perfect. And now, again, let's just close your eyes and just have that picture of that person in your mind. And just kind of imagine pushing that person away a little farther. So that let's just have that person be about 10 feet away from you. Yeah, it doesn't have to be precise, but just some distance. There you go. Okay. Yeah. See, again, your body starts to respond immediately just as soon as you put that person outside of your body. Yeah, you can start to feel more relaxation. All right, and now just repeat to yourself, return to sender with consciousness. 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 And you just keep repeating that. And you're just sending their energy back to them. Yeah. Perfect. So return to sender with consciousness. And as you're returning to sender with consciousness, also be calling all of your energy back to you. So just have that sensation of bringing your energy back from them and into your space and into your body. Return to center with consciousness. Calling all of you back to you. Return to center with consciousness. Calling all of you back to you. Return to center with consciousness. Calling all of you back to you. Return to center with consciousness. Calling all of you back to you. Perfect. Yeah, so you may have noticed, like I said, more and more relaxation. A lot of times what people have said that they've noticed and that I noticed, especially in the beginning, was there was like a lot of chatter in the head at the beginning. And after doing the processes, it's just like, well, there's just a little more space in my own head, a little more calm, like, turning some of the TVs off, right? I always like that analogy about having 100 TVs and 100 radio stations going on at once, blaring all on volume 10. And these techniques and these tools help to turn those televisions and these TVs off, turn the volume down and turn them off, and start to have your own space for you, for your energy, for your thoughts, for your awarenesses. Yeah. Yeah, so you may notice that your body feels calmer, quieter, more at ease, more at peace. And one of the things that I say a lot is pat the body. And I'm doing this so you can see, right? Rubbing my arms. And you can kind of rub your leg, your thighs, as you have your hands down by your thighs. And you don't have to stay in motion, but it just sounds better than rub your body, because it's not like pat, like good dog, but it's like really being companionable with your body. Touch is one of body's first languages. So touching your body in a caressing and caring way, like you really appreciate all that your body does for you. If you just listen to modern society, it's all roads lead to sex, right? It's all about, and it's not even like so much your pleasure of sex. It's like being consumed by somebody else. And they're not quite that overt because everybody would be upset. But that is kind of like the underlying message about what bodies are for. And really your body is just this incredible sensory device. And once you start to validate your body, and good body is a great way to start validating your body, it's going to improve your relationship so much that you're going to start to be aware of all the amazing things that your body does for you on a daily basis. And all of these upsets and tension and twitchiness and so much of what your body is doing is conveying to you that there's something not great going on for you. And once you start to listen and like using this return to center with consciousness and making separation using the list of 5 differences, the more you start to kind of answer the call, then the more you're going to find that you actually have the most incredible ally ever, which is your body. Your body, I'm going to put it in physical terms. Let's say you as spirit, right? You're an infinite being, and by spirit I mean non-body. Whew. Okay, so you as spirit take the time and trouble to figure out the time and the place and the sex and all of that, and then you create this amazing body to be your host, your house, while you're having this amazing physical experience. So really, your body is your soul's mate for this lifetime. How amazing is that? And how true is that, right? I mean, as soon as you hear it, you go, oh my God, that's so true. Your body is literally your soul's mate for this lifetime. And your body wants nothing, nothing more than to walk and talk you, the infinite being, a spirit, into the world, to support you, to do for you. I mean, your body, it pumps blood. It sees. I mean, they can't even figure out how to do AI versions of sight because it's so complicated. There's just so much about the functionality of the body. And not only like the breathing and the movement of the knees and the turning oxygen into the bloodstream. I mean, there's just a gazillion things that your body does all the time that are phenomenal, miraculous, and that body doesn't get any credit for. And the more you start to validate the amazing qualities of your body, and you don't even have to know what they are. You don't have to take a class, and you don't have to list them, but the more you can start to comprehend that your body does everything for you, the more you're going to start to enjoy your body and have a much better spirit-body relationship. See, as soon as I'm starting to talk about my body wants to smile. and you may have that experience too. So starting, Teddy Roosevelt said, do all you can with what you have from where you are. And if you do, and then I'm extrapolating, if you do that every day, you will transform your life in a very short amount of time. Because most of the time, what we spend our days on is trying to not mind that we can't do what we want to do, or that there's restrictions, or that we have to go to work, or that we have to do what somebody else says. There's just a tremendous amount of spending our lives, the way most people live, is they spend a lot of their lives doing stuff that they don't want to do. And that's tremendously draining, because when you're in resistance to your life, right? I mean, you can feel the icky energy, right? All right. So, begin at the beginning. Start from where you are. Whenever you're aggravated with somebody, make separations. Make separations. List 5 ways that you're different. Just 5 neutral ways that you're different. No judgment required. And start to picture them farther away from you. Get them out of your space, right? So that's 2 things right there. And the third thing is return to center with consciousness, return to center with consciousness, return to center with consciousness. And the 4th thing is calling all of you back to you, right? So name 5 differences, picture them moving away from you, return to center with consciousness, and calling all of your energy back to you. So those are 4 things that you can start practicing today and just see what happens. So I recommend that you maybe have a little journal and just jot some notes. Let's say right now you're aggravated with the supervisor, so you write down their name and, they're such a poo-poo head, whatever you want to call them, and today's date and whatever else, is going on for you. Just bullet points. You don't have to do a journal entry. And then just spend a couple of minutes and do the list 5 things. Visualize moving them out of your space and send their energy back to them. Return to center with consciousness and call your energy back to you. And pat your sweet, sweet body. Yeah. And see what happens, right? So I know for myself, when I started doing this years ago, I had I was nervous a lot, because I didn't know what was mine and what was somebody else's, and I didn't know what I should or shouldn't be doing. This was, I'm again using the picture of at work, right? And so when I started using these tools, I noticed that I was less apprehensive at work. And where I had been looking for trouble, specifically looking to be in trouble, that started to fade away because I wasn't holding all these other people's energy in my space anymore. And I had a client just a couple of weeks ago she just started to work with me, and she was saying when she came back she learned this on her first visit, and when she came back on her second session, she was like, "Oh my God, that woman who used to drive me crazy, I don't even remember where she is in the building anymore." So you can change things more than you think is possible, just by doing different things with your consciousness and by using these tools and techniques. So there you go. You have 4 tools to use for owning your space and clearing other people's energy out. So thanks for listening. And I hope to hear from you, because it's always great to hear how people are using the tools and what amazing stuff that you're getting to create in your life now. All right. So I will see you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.